With the gay marriage fight taking so many twists and turns, we wanted more analysis. I'm joined by Shakira Sanders from the University of Idaho Law School. Sanders, an expert in individual rights and liberties under the United States Constitution, also teaches courses in constitutional law. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. Interesting times.
Interesting times,
I'll tell you. Here we go. The Supreme Court with a stay on the gay rights, marriage for gay rights. Will that stay stand? How long can it stand, do you think?
Well, no one knows yet whether the stay will remain in place.
Yeah.
But the soonest that it could be lifted essentially is Friday, I would think. The proponents of same-sex marriage have until Thursday evening at 5 o'clock to file their reply briefs to the U.S. Supreme Court. And it may not take the court very long to make a ruling right after that.
Could be as soon as this Friday, you think?
It could be as soon as this Friday.
All right. If they wanted to make it last longer, how long could it last?
Well, that would depend on whether or not the court thinks that there are reasons to actually hear this case as the 9 members of the U.S. Supreme Court. If that happens, then essentially the case could be calendared for this current term, and we could have a ruling on that next summer.
It could be a long time, potentially.
That's a lot longer of a time.
Put odds on it, Shakira.
Well, you know, one thing you learn in law school is not to make bets on what the U.S. Supreme Court is going to do. So the best we can all do, even us lawyers and academics, is wait it out.
Okay, good advice, I'm sure. Plaintiffs are supposed to send a reply to the Supreme Court. Will that likely have any real bearing? Could it have any real bearing on how quickly the stay is perhaps lifted?
I think it could or it could not. You know, a lot of this is procedural. Under the rules, the parties have an opportunity to respond. And part of what happens when you file for a stay in the Supreme Court is that they usually issue a temporary stay that will be pending until they actually make a decision. So the stay that we have now is really just a temporary stay. We'll have to wait and see, though, if they make it more of a permanent stay.
What is it different about Idaho's case that could make it something that would be heard by the Supreme Court?
Well, the primary difference is that in the Ninth Circuit's jurisprudence, classifications based on sexual orientation actually receive heightened scrutiny. None of that was true of the prior 3 opinions we saw from the 4th, 7th, and 10th circuits. So that may be something that the court is interested in exploring and deciding whether or not they agree with that portion of the Ninth Circuit's opinion. Now, based on what we saw the Supreme Court doing on Monday, which is to deny the petitions, it may not necessarily change the result in that same-sex marriage would be deemed constitutional in Idaho. It's really about the theory at this point.
Just a few seconds left here, but what likelihood do you see of it being left up to the states?
Very little likely that it will be left up to the states. You know, we've got cases in all 50 states now, and most of these cases are in state court now. We saw some opinions in Arkansas where the state judges have actually ruled on the issue, but primarily the arguments are these are issues of federal law, and that means it's going to be decided by the federal courts.
All right, we'll see by Friday, and then perhaps thereafter what happens.
We will all be waiting on pins and needles, I can tell you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.